Hey everyone, I think it's Tuesday, I think it's 2 p.m. and I think this is the ROMKids Show. Hi everyone, it's me, Kieran, and once again we are in a brand new, different place, all right? 3 weeks ago we were at our apartment, then 2 weeks ago we were in a backyard, and right now, friends, I cannot say how excited I am to say this, we are at the ROM in the Winnie the Pooh gallery. It is a Tuesday, so there's no one here, and I know that because it kind of is a little bit spooky in a museum when no one else is there with you. It's just myself all up here on the 4th floor, so very exciting to talk to you today about the Winnie the Pooh exhibit here at the Royal Ontario Museum that runs through like the next couple months. It's a beautiful exhibit, and may I say it is very cute. So we are very excited to talk about the Winnie the Pooh exhibit today at the ROM, on the ROMKids Show. We're also gonna do some really fun art inspired by the very first Winnie the Pooh story. So that will be a lot of fun. We're gonna talk about the legend of the story of this iconic character. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that bear. Is it inspired by a real bear from Ontario that went across the Atlantic during the First World War? You are correct, absolutely. Winnie the Pooh right here today at the ROM. I'm just opening up the group chat on my phone so I can see what's going on. To any of our friends out there, nice to see you guys. I know a lot of our friends at school these days are watching later on, so we hope to see you later on YouTube. These videos go up on YouTube on like the Wednesday or Thursday after, so you can watch them there. They also live on in Instagram stories as well. So we're gonna have a lot of fun here. Have I finally done what I needed to do? The answer is yes. I've now joined the group chat. Let's take a little look at this really, really cool exhibit, okay? So I'm just gonna go like this, and then I'm going to flip the camera around, if I can do that. Whoa! And look at how beautiful this exhibit is, okay? And as we know from the very first Winnie the Pooh story, umbrellas are pretty fun. It's just this gorgeous, gorgeous exhibit that we hope that you guys get the chance to see. And if not in person, then at the very least live today. And look at those balloons. We'll be making our own balloons today on the show. Remember, for all of our like new friends out here, this is a kid show, so if you're interested in learning about Winnie the Pooh and doing some art with us, feel free. We also know a lot of teachers use this in their classroom. And just look at this like beautiful exhibit. I'm not gonna show you everything because like that's for you to experience, but a nice sort of like Christopher Robin's room made up here. And then, whoa, we even got the forest here at the museum. So many things to see. It's really quite a beautiful exhibit. And then, hey, it's even all the characters that inspired all of Christopher Robin's, these are replicas of all the bears and animals he had. You got Kanga over there, you got Piglet, Tigger, all of those. So really quite a gorgeous exhibit, Winnie the Pooh right here at the museum. But I think it's time to start our show let me just get that centered and ready, because we have a lot of art that we're gonna do, lots of things that we need to accomplish right here at the ROMKids Show. Time to do the theme song in a museum that's all my own today, no one else here. Welcome to the ROMKids Show with me. We'll do some crafts and tell some stories. Let's talk about science, art, and history. Welcome to the ROMKids Show, starring you and me. That's the theme song portion of the event. It's really sort of echoey and big, and all the sound is really large when you're just in a museum by yourself, but still pretty cool. Just entering in so I can see what's going on. Hi. Yeah, it is a pretty good exhibit. If you get a chance to see it, please come on out. It is really quite gorgeous. Winnie the Pooh, today we are making these, okay? I made it last night. I hope you like it. This is Sweater Song Encore. This is what we're gonna do, and this is inspired by the very first Winnie the Pooh story. When Winnie wants to have some honey, and it doesn't go quite so well. So what you need, let's gather all our materials off the bat to make sure that we're all ready. So what you need to do this activity is, oh no, can people still hear me? I'm hoping everyone can still hear me. So I'll just speak a little bit louder for now. So, everyone does love Winnie the Pooh. Very cool. Okay, so what you need for our materials are, you need dish soap, or you need, today, I don't have dish soap here, weirdly. So instead I'm using bubble solution. All right, we got bubble solution right here. Thank you, yes we can. So we got bubble solution. Next up, we need water. If you're doing this with dish soap, you need water. If you're doing it with bubble solution, then you're just fine. Okay, next, you need food coloring. Okay, we got blue and we got yellow to make our backgrounds, because this is bubble art. Okay, this is bubble art right here. You need a straw, so you need 2 different straws. I got them right here. So this is fun. Then next you're gonna need some yellow paper to make your Winnie character. You know, cute little pal right there. And then you're gonna need some normal paper. That's sort of a preview of what's to come. But you need some normal paper. I would use cardstock if you have it, because it's a little bit thicker. Then you need tape or glue. And then you need a pencil and a black marker. Those are all the things that you need, okay? So, let's start it off. Okay, a little bit disorienting being in this museum all by myself. So, first thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our ink, okay? Our bubble solution ink that you can see right there. So what I'm doing is, because I don't have dish soap, is I will be using bubble solution. And so, if you can recall, if you ever come to ROM camp, you might see me out the doors, just like doing bubbles everywhere. I'll clean that up after. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of bubble solution right there at the bottom of my jars. Now, if you're doing this with dish soap, you need 3 teaspoons of dish soap and 1 teaspoon of water to make your solution, okay? If you want to go a little bit heavier with the dish soap, do it. It has to be clear dish soap though, okay? Here in our art studio, we only have the colored dish soap, so it doesn't really work. You need that clear, transparent dish soap. Otherwise, use your bubble solution. So then, you're going to need to use your, what's this called? Food coloring. Now, I decided after I did my first version last night that it might be cool to do 2 colors. So we're going to use yellow, much like Winnie the Pooh, and we're going to use blue. And you really need to throw a bunch of food coloring in here to get it to work, okay? So I'm just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hey, 6, and 7, because it's a lucky number, and an 8, just for fun. Because it's lighter, you need to use more, and then you need to use your blue to make our blue balloons to do this iconic scene, all right? Just yeet a ton right in there. Awesome. Okay, and then you gotta mix it all up. So I know a lot of teachers do this program and they hang out with us. Today, don't do this activity because we'll be using straws to blow our art. Okay, it's a great activity to do outside and to do with your parents, okay? Folks that you live with. So then I'm mixing everything up just like that. Mixing it up a little bit more. And now it's time to do our bubble art, okay? Then once we're all started on our bubble art, then I'm gonna go and take a look and tell the story of the bear itself, Winnie. A wonderful bear, a female bear. Okay, so first I'm gonna do the light color. So what you do is you mix it all up. Don't drink it, it doesn't taste good, all right? Just a word of caution right there. But get the tip of your straw all through it, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're gonna blow through the other end. All right? And the bubbles from the solution should really should have bubbles go all over your sheet, okay? Whoa. And this is just an accent color. The blue is what's really gonna steal the show. And if you are a longtime fan of the show, this is the 20th episode we've done, then you'll know I love a good science gimmick, and this is definitely it. So there you have it. I have my little accents, yellow behind on our sheet, okay? Then we're gonna do the blue. And essentially later on, the blue, we're gonna turn into a balloon, right? To make our real Winnie the Pooh scene. All right, have some fun with that. Do a lot of colors. As long as one of them is blue, that would make me really happy. Ultimately, it needs to look like this, and that's how you're gonna get your background, all right? Doing great. I'm doing great, everyone. That's good. So let's start at the beginning. Where did Winnie the Pooh come from? So earlier today, I'm gonna take us on a little bit of an adventure, okay? Earlier today, I was getting all of like these pictures ready, and then I realized, why get pictures ready on my iPad when I could just show you the real thing, all right? So the beginning of the character of Winnie the Pooh starts right here in Ontario, okay? This worldwide phenomenon starts in a small town, White River, over in eastern Ontario. It's sort of near Thunder Bay. And it starts with this guy, Lieutenant or Lieutenant, Harry Colburn, who's on his way across Canada to go to Quebec to start his training because he's joining the forces that are going to war for the First World War. And so he stops at this very small town and comes across a bear from like someone who deals with bears. So a very interesting thing there. And he decides, you know what, I'm gonna buy this bear. I do not recommend that anyone buy a bear today, but this is how this story goes back on August 24th, 1914. And so he spends $20 to buy this bear. Now, you might be thinking, 20 bucks for like a bear cub? That doesn't sound like a lot. But once you factor in inflation, that'd be something a lot more today. So then he takes our bear and he brings it across Canada from Ontario to Quebec, where they set up a bunch of their camps. And one of the big things at the time is they like to have mascots. And so Harry Colburn was like, you know what, this bear, this female bear, we're gonna name her Winnie, which is short for Winnipeg, which is where Colburn grew up. Now, I wanna zoom in on this picture right here, because it's really, really cool, because who do you see right at the very front? But you see this unit, and then you see the little bear right there, okay? That's Winnie. And so again, it was popular for different crews, different squads to have a mascot, and they decided that theirs would be a live bear. Not something I would go for today, but something very cool for the history books. So now the other thing is they're still in Canada and the war is in Europe. So then they have to take Winnie on a boat. And that boat trip takes, a couple weeks. It starts at the beginning of October and they get there in the middle of October, okay? And they land in England. And so you don't see the bear there, I don't think, but like that's the unit. Now, this is an iconic photo of Winnie and Colburn, okay? Do you see that right there? That's Winnie the Pooh. That's like the real Winnie right there. And so obviously not a yellow bear like we know from the books and the cartoons and all of those things, but a black bear from Ontario. Gets picked up in a small town, then gets on a train, then at some point, I'm assuming some sort of automobile, and then later gets on a boat and crosses the Atlantic. Now, the thing about the war is that they weren't gonna bring the bear with them. So Harry goes to the London Zoo and says, hey, would you mind like taking care of my bear for a bit while I'm off? Hoping to save the day. And they said, absolutely, we'll take your bear. And so over the course of, the next couple years, this small bear cub grows bigger and bigger, but the fandom around this bear does as well, as children all across London fall in love with Winnie, just like Harry Colburn and the rest of his unit. And finally, once the war is over, Harry decides, you know what? This bear has a lot of fans here. Let's leave them. Let's leave Winnie here at the London Zoo where all his friends are, where all her friends are, and they can grow up together. And that finally leads us to like the mid 1920s when a young Christopher Robin visits the zoo and falls in love and inspires the next part of our story. So we're gonna go back now to do the next part of our activity, but we are almost done. Thank you to all our friends who are with us today. Okay, I'm thinking I'm now back here on site. So, has everything, yeah, what a cute little bear. So, I hope all your art has dried. This is what it should look like, okay? And you can go crazy, you can draw a whole bunch of things if you would like. Art is whatever, is however you want it to be, okay? So, now we need to draw our Winnie. So there's two really important characters beyond, you know, Piglet and Winnie and Eeyore and all of those. And frankly, I've been feeling a lot of like Eeyore vibes over the last couple months. Maybe you have too. But there's two very important people that come to this as well. And that's A.A. Milne and E.H. Shepard, okay? Milne wrote these books for, these stories for his son, Christopher Robin. And it's Shepard who drew the original Winnie the Pooh. And I think you can probably see right behind me over there, okay? Winnie the Pooh, we got Kanga, we got Roo, we got Piglet, we got Owl. And all of these characters, many of them, most of them, except for Owl and Rabbit, I think, all of these were characters that Christopher Robin sort of dreamed up from his stuffies. Okay? And you can imagine, like, when you're young, you really put a lot of energy and stories into those toys that you play with. And Christopher Robin, the ones that he loved the most were his stuffies, much like Winnie the Pooh, much like Piglet and Eeyore. He loved to play with these all. And then he would tell stories and act these things out that his father, Milne, would then turn into stories that to like tell back to his son. So next we need to draw a Winnie the Pooh. Now you can draw any character if you want. I drew Winnie the Pooh here. The best way to do it is to Google like Winnie the Pooh and put in E.H. Shepard, who's the original illustrator, and get one of those illustrations up on a tablet or another device. And that way you can sort of trace it, right? You can even take tracing paper and put it over top of your screen, turn it into a little light box. There's all sorts of different ways that you can do it. But for me, what I like to do, yeah, funny how Owl is just named Owl and Rabbit's just named Rabbit. So what I like to do with all my art is I like to outline it. And so that's what I did right before this, is I just sort of looked at some of Shepard's drawings of Winnie, especially the one where he's holding the balloon. And I put it all together and sort of just was inspired by it, okay? And so again, the black on the yellow paper really makes it pop, really makes it look really good. You can imagine eventually it'll look like this, okay? So draw your Winnie, you know, put some black ink on there to make it pop, and then cut out your character. Because what we're gonna do after that is glue it right on top of our scape here. So Christopher Robin, he's born in like 1920, and by 1926 he starts going to the zoo a lot. And you know, many of us love the zoo, especially for us here in Toronto. We have the Toronto Zoo. I certainly went a lot as a kid and loved all the animals. Just like the soldiers that brought Winnie over from Ontario to England, Christopher Robin fell in love with Winnie as well, and would love to go right up with his little stuffy and, you know, really engage with this bear. And this bear has been sort of passed through history as being like really sweet and loving and kind. And that's probably because, you know, when you're sweet and loving and kind, you get sweets. And, you know, one of the strongest traits of Winnie the Pooh is his love of honey. And so again, he would love these things. He'd create all of these stories with all of his stuffies. They ended up living on a large plot of land which had their own forest, and obviously the forest is a big part, like the setting of all of these stories. And they would grow up there. And so then his father and his friend, they would create these stories and put them out to the public. And that's how it ends up with us today. It proved to be incredibly, incredibly popular. So now once you've cut out your piece, and again, take all the time you want. If you're on YouTube, you can press pause whenever you need to. The ROM is amazing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue down my piece, my character right here. And what you wanna do is you wanna place it somewhere underneath of a blue circle that you really like, that looks really like that iconic blue balloon. And I'm gonna choose that one right there. So I'm gonna glue my Winnie right down. And I think I brought up like a dud of a glue stick, but I think it's doing okay. And so the next thing you need to do, okay, there we go. Winnie, glued on, just like that. Is, oh, it fell. It really was a dud of a glue. That is all right. That is okay. So, putting it down like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your black Sharpie and you're going to outline the favorite balloon that you like. And then you're going to draw a little line, a little string, all the way down to Winnie's hand. And there you go. There you have it. Now, why are we doing this? In the first story about Winnie the Pooh, what he does is he's walking around outside in the forest, and what does he hear? He hears some bees. He hears some bees up in a tree, and he goes, you know what? Where there are bees, there's honey. I love honey. Let's get to it. So when he climbs up the tree, but he can't seem to get it, he's not really enough good leverage, and he falls down to the ground. And that's when he says, you know what? Maybe I should ask my friend Christopher Robin for some help. And so he goes over to Christopher Robin, who is, I think, really fun, inserted into stories that he himself created. And he says, hey, do you have a balloon? Maybe the balloon will lift me up, carry me up, so that I can get to the bees. And so he has two balloons, and he decides the blue one is best, because the blue will blend in with the blue sky. So he takes the balloon over to the tree, he floats up to the top, and he sees that the bees are right there, but he's still having a really hard time getting in to get this honey. So then he decides, you know what, Christopher Robin, go inside, can you get an umbrella? And maybe we can trick these bees into thinking that it's raining, so that I'm just a cloud, and so they are not suspicious of me. So Christopher Robin comes right back out with his umbrella, wanders below Winnie the Pooh, trying to make the bees think that he's just a cloud, but that doesn't seem to work as well. Winnie the Pooh says, you know what, these bees are suspicious, and suspicious bees would make suspicious honey. I don't think this is going to work. So then he says to Christopher Robin, can you help me get down? Can you help me get down? If I just let go of the balloon, I'm going to fall and hit the floor really, really hard. And I don't want to do that again. I've already fallen out of a tree. So then in my version of this story, Christopher Robin picks up a rock, and he throws the rock at the balloon, which then opens a small hole, which then allows Winnie the Pooh to descend back to the ground. In this story, Winnie the Pooh doesn't get his honey, but he certainly builds a strong and long-lasting relationship with his good friend Christopher Robin, because you can count on your friends. So another thing that I do in here as well is I like to draw in some bees, which are just 2 dots and then 2 big wings. And we were discussing at our household last night that this would look really cute in like a kid's room as well. So depending on, you know, who's making this would look really awesome, especially if it's framed, all right? So there you go. That's my Winnie the Pooh bubble art character. Great for doing outside, great for doing with your folks. It's a lot of fun, and you can use this technique to do so many different things. I think it's a great way to do mixed media with mixed media, okay? So that was today's episode of the ROMKids Show. We are back next week with Dr. Sebastian Kavitz, where we will be talking about the coral reef tank here at the museum, that small exhibit that many kids absolutely love and enjoy. So we'll be on next week with Sebastian to talk about everything about invertebrates, maybe even some leeches. If you saw bloodsuckers, you definitely like Sebastian, and to talk about our coral reef tanks. The Royal Ontario Museum is open Wednesdays through Sundays. So if you want to drop on by, see Winnie the Pooh, it's an excellent exhibit. We also have mummies, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard really, really great things. Okay, that's all we got today. If you made this picture, please, 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 at Rob Toronto, throw it up on Twitter. Show us a picture of your wonderful Winnie the Pooh scene right here. We would love to see what you created. And that's it. Be safe, bake some bread, wear a mask, We love you. See you later. Bye, friends.